Chosen one. God's anger feels like an attack. It feels sudden. It feels harsh. It feels like he is turning against you. You feel the heat of it on the back of your neck. You feel the weight of it in the silence of your room. But I need you to see what he sees right now in the spirit realm. You are 3 steps from a collision that will end everything. You cannot see it. You have been walking this same path over and over, every 48 hours like clockwork. And each time you get closer to the edge, his anger isn't punishment. It is the force yanking you backward before you step into traffic. What looks like violence to you, that is rescue to him. I am about to show you the threat you cannot see, the pattern you keep running, and why this might be the last time he pulls you back. The Spirit of God pulled you here, not the algorithm, not coincidence. Him. Because there is a pattern running in your life that is about to cross a line you cannot come back from. He is giving you one more chance to see it. You have felt it, haven't you? That sinking feeling when it happens again. That thing you swore you would never do again. You promised God. You promised yourself. And yet there you were, 3 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, asking the same question. Why can't I stop? Your shoulders are probably tight right now just hearing this. Feel where they are. Pulled up toward your ears. That is your body holding the weight of the secret pattern you haven't named out loud yet. Let them drop. Just for 5 seconds. Drop your shoulders. Feel how much tension you have been carrying trying to hide this thing from yourself. That is not weakness, chosen one. That is something far more dangerous. Your spiritual immune system has turned against you. Before we go deeper, I need you to make a mark. A small seal of intent. If you feel the pressure, if you feel the weight of a cycle you cannot explain, write 777 in the comments. Do not explain it. Just write the code. It is a signal that you are present, that you are listening, and that you are ready to face the pattern. Now listen carefully. Your body has an alarm system. When poison enters, it attacks. White blood cells surround the threat. They destroy it. That is immunity working correctly. But what happens when your body mistakes itself for the threat? It attacks its own cells. It destroys its own tissue. That is autoimmune disease. The body at war with itself. Spiritually, you have triggered yours. Every blessing that tries to grow in you, you are the one killing it. Not the enemy. Not your circumstances. Not bad timing. You are on autopilot, destroying your own harvest before it breaks through the ground. And God's anger. It is the emergency alert trying to wake you up before you destroy yourself completely. There are 7 tripwires, 7 invisible lines you keep crossing. Most people only see the surface. They see the mistake. They see the sin, but they do not see the wire. I am going to show you the map. But the last 4 wires, they are the ones that actually keep you trapped. They are the ones that lock the pattern so tight, you cannot break it without divine intervention. You are in bed. The silence is loud. You can't sleep. That thing happened again. The thing you swore was the last time. Your phone is face down on the nightstand. You do not want to look at it because you know what is there. The evidence of your reset button getting hit again. Your chest feels tight, not anxiety. Recognition. Your spirit knows what your mind does not want to admit. You just tripped the wire again. The first tripwire is the invisible return. It looks like this. You cut something off. You deleted the app. You blocked the number. You made the declaration, "I am done with this." And you meant it. For 48 hours, you meant it. But then in a moment of weakness, just to check, just to see, just one more time, your thumb moves. And suddenly you are back in the exact place you swore you would never return to. Except now it is worse, because you knew better. You had momentum, you had freedom, and you handed it back. Why does this trigger your spiritual autoimmune response? Because God gave you an exit. He opened the door, He cut the chains, and you walked back into the cell and locked it from the inside. Every time you do this, you are not just falling. You are teaching your spirit that freedom is temporary. You are teaching yourself that deliverance does not stick, that you are the exception to God's power. You endured. You kept standing even after the fall. You did not let the shame consume you entirely, but the pattern remained. The second tripwire is the secret vow. You made an agreement you do not remember making. It happened in a moment of pain, a moment of rejection, a moment when you said to yourself, "I will never let that happen again." In that moment, you built a wall, a defense mechanism, and it worked for a while. It protected you. But now that same wall is keeping out the very blessing God is trying to deliver. You are guarding against a threat that is no longer there. You are blocking the answer to the prayer you have been praying for years. Here is what this looks like in real time. Someone gets close, too close. They see you, really see you. And your first instinct isn't gratitude. It is panic. You start finding reasons why this won't work, why they will leave, why you need to leave first. And before they can reject you, you reject them. You call it wisdom. God calls it the vow, the invisible contract with loneliness you signed in blood and keep renewing every time someone tries to love you. Why does this trip the wire? Because God is trying to heal the wound, but you are defending the scar. You have made the pain part of your identity. And every time He sends someone to break through, you activate the defense system. Not because you don't want connection, but because the vow is louder than the promise. You survived the loneliness. You walked through the desert of isolation, and you did not die. You kept your humanity even when you felt unseen. The third tripwire is the negotiation. This is the most subtle, the most dangerous, because it feels like obedience. It sounds like this: "God, I will do what you asked. Just let me finish this first. Just let me get through this season. Just let me have this one thing, and then I will surrender." You are not saying no. You are saying not yet. And every "not yet" is a wire you are tripping, because delayed obedience is still disobedience. Every negotiation weakens the signal between you and heaven. You can feel it right now, can't you? That burn in your chest. That is not conviction trying to crush you. That is your spirit recognizing itself in these words. Your spirit is screaming, "Yes, that is me. That is my wire. Don't push it down." That recognition is the first step toward freedom. Endurance is not just about surviving the pain. It is about surviving the truth. And the truth is, you have been negotiating with your own destiny. You have been trading your calling for comfort. But you are still here. You are still listening. That means the negotiation is not over. Now you might be thinking, "Okay, I know the first three, I will just avoid those and I am safe. Wrong. Those 3 tripwires are just symptoms. Surface level. The real trap is in the next 4. And one of them you are probably triggering right now without even knowing it. Tripwire number 4 is the evidence eraser. This is the one that keeps you locked in the cycle because it destroys proof of your progress. Here is what it looks like. God answers a prayer. You see the breakthrough. It is real. It is tangible. And for 24 hours, maybe 48, you celebrate. But then something shifts. You start doubting it was real. You start finding reasons why it won't last. And then, in a moment you will regret for months, you delete the evidence. Your finger hovers over the button. Delete the screenshot of the answered prayer. Unsend the message where you testified. Remove the post where you declared freedom. One click and it is gone. Not because you don't believe it happened, but because if there is no evidence, you can convince yourself it wasn't that big of a deal. And if it wasn't that big of a deal, you don't have to feel guilty when you go back to the old pattern. This is why God gets angry at this one, because he moved heaven and earth to give you that moment, that breakthrough, that proof, and you erased it like it never happened. Every time you delete evidence of God's faithfulness, you are not just destroying a memory. You are dismantling your own testimony. And the next time you need to remember what he did, there is nothing there. Just your word against the enemy's lies. And we both know who wins that fight. You bore the weight of forgetting. You carried the heavy silence of a testimony unspoken. You did not let the silence kill you, but it made you heavy. Tripwire number 5 is the history rewriter. This is how you make yourself believe the lie. You don't just forget what happened. You change what happened. In your mind, the story shifts. The person who hurt you, they become the villain in a story where you are the innocent victim. The choice you made, it becomes something you were forced into. The pattern you keep repeating, it becomes something that is being done to you, not something you are choosing. Listen to how this sounds in your head. You are driving, stuck in traffic. A memory surfaces. A moment of failure. A moment of shame. But instead of seeing it clearly, you rewrite it in real time. It wasn't my fault. They pushed me to it. I had no choice. I was set up. And with every rewrite, the lie becomes more believable. Because you have told yourself the new version so many times, you can't remember what actually happened anymore. Why does this trip the wire? Because God cannot heal what you won't admit is wounded. He cannot forgive what you won't confess is sin. And he cannot break a pattern you have convinced yourself doesn't exist. The history rewriter makes you immune to conviction. Because in your version of events, you are always justified. Always the exception. Always the one who had a reason. Tripwire number 6 is the weaponized gift. This is the most insidious because it feels spiritual. God gave you a gift, a calling, an anointing. And instead of using it to set people free, you use it to justify staying bound. It sounds like this: I can't deal with my brokenness right now because I have to minister to others. I can't stop this pattern because people need me. I can't take time to heal because the assignment is too urgent. You use your gift as a shield, a reason to avoid the surgery God is trying to perform. And here is the trap. It works for a while. People are helped by your gift. Lives are changed. And you use that as evidence that you are fine. That God is still using you. so the pattern must not be that serious. But chosen one, God's anointing on your life does not mean He approves of your lifestyle. His gift is irrevocable. He doesn't take it back when you misuse it. But that doesn't mean He isn't grieved by watching you bleed out while you are trying to bandage everyone else. The gift becomes a weapon against yourself when you use it as an excuse to stay broken. You held the torch for others while walking in the dark yourself. You fed the multitude while you were starving. That is endurance, yes, but it is also destruction. Tripwire number 7. This is the one that makes God angry. Not disappointed, not sad, angry. Because 7 is the number of completion. And when you hit 7, you are not just tripping a wire anymore. You are completing a cycle that was never supposed to finish. It is called the teacher. You don't just do the thing anymore. You teach others how to do it. You normalize it. You justify it. You make it look like wisdom. Here is what it looks like. Someone comes to you struggling with the same pattern you are trapped in. And instead of warning them, instead of saying this path leads to death, you give them permission. You say things like, God understands. You are only human. Give yourself grace. Don't be so hard on yourself. And every word sounds loving, sounds merciful. But what you are actually doing is handing them the same poison that has been killing you, wrapped in spiritual language, and calling it medicine. God's anger ignites here, because now it isn't just your destiny being destroyed. It is theirs. You are a carrier, and you are infecting everyone who comes close enough to drink from your well. You did not mean to harm them. You spoke from your own pain. You tried to offer the mercy you desperately wanted for yourself. But true mercy is truth. And by withholding the truth, you became part of the trap. That burning in your chest right now, I know you feel it. That heat, that tightness, that is not anxiety attacking you. That is not stress. That is your spirit recognizing the wire you have been tripping. Maybe it is number 4. Maybe it is all 7. But that heat that is not there to condemn you. It is there to wake you up. Your spirit knows the truth even when your mind is still making excuses. Don't push it down. Let it burn. Let it surface. Because that recognition is the beginning of your freedom. Knowing the tripwires is like a doctor showing you cancer cells under a microscope. You see them. You know they are there. You know they are killing you. But seeing cancer doesn't cure cancer. It takes surgery. And before surgery, you need to understand how the cancer got there in the first place. The pattern you are trapped in. You didn't wake up one day and choose it. You didn't decide to destroy yourself. This thing is older than you, deeper than you. It is coded into your spiritual DNA. Until you trace it back to the source, you will keep fighting symptoms while the root keeps growing. It started with a wound. Maybe it was generational. Your father's addiction became your addiction. Your mother's anxiety became your anxiety. Their unhealed trauma embedded itself into your blueprint before you even had language to name it. You were born carrying weight you didn't pack. Or maybe it started with a specific moment. A betrayal, an abandonment, a trauma so sharp it rewired your nervous system in real time. And in that moment, your spirit made an agreement. Never again. I will never be that vulnerable again. I will never trust like that again. I will never let anyone that close again. and what felt like protection became a prison. Or maybe it was slower. A series of small abandonments. A pattern of being overlooked. And over time you learned that your pain doesn't matter. That your needs are too much. That you have to earn love by being useful. By being perfect. By never being a burden. And that belief became the operating system running in the background of every decision you make. However it started here is what happened next. The wound became a pattern. The pattern became automatic. And the automatic became invisible. You stopped choosing it. It started choosing you. Every 48 hours, like clockwork, the code executes. And you watch yourself do the thing you swore you'd never do again. And you can't figure out why you can't stop. Because you didn't write the code chosen one. But now it runs you. You have endured this code for years. You have functioned despite the glitch. You have achieved, you have loved, you have served, all while this program ran in the background. That takes strength, immense strength. But it is a strength that is killing you. Now you know what you have been doing. The 7 tripwires. And you know where it came from. The corrupted code. The wound that became a pattern. But here is what you don't know yet. Here is what God wants you to understand that will change everything. His anger. The thing that brought you here. The fury you feel radiating from heaven every time you trip the wire. You think it is rejection. You think it is punishment. You think he is done with you. You are wrong. Everything you think about God's rage is backwards. And when you see it correctly, it won't terrify you anymore. It will shatter you in the best possible way. Let me tell you what God's anger actually is. But before I do, I need you to hear something you won't want to hear. Something uncomfortable. Something that is going to make your defenses rise up. But if you can stay with me through this next part, everything changes. Here is the truth you have been avoiding. A part of you wants to stay broken. Not all of you. Not the part that is praying for freedom. Not the part that clicked on this message desperate for answers. But there is a part. A hidden part. A part you don't talk about. And that part, it prefers the pattern. Why? Because broken gets attention. When you are struggling, people check on you. They ask how you are doing. They pray for you. They reach out. But when you are healed, when you are whole, you are just expected to be fine. Nobody celebrates your normalcy. Nobody rushes to help someone who doesn't need help. And a part of you has learned that your pain is your value. Because broken gets identity. You know who you are when you are the struggler. The one who is always fighting something. Always overcoming something. Always in process. That is your story. That is how you introduce yourself to God. I am the one who struggles with this. I am the one who can't seem to break this. And if that struggle disappeared tomorrow, who would you be? You don't know. And not knowing is scarier than staying broken. Because broken gets excuses. As long as you are trapped in this pattern, you have a reason. A reason you are not further along. A reason you haven't stepped into your calling. A reason you are not leading, not launching, not rising. The pattern is your permission slip to stay small. And if you healed, if you broke free, you would have to face the terrifying possibility that you are the only thing standing between you and your destiny. Not the enemy, not the pattern. You, and here is the one nobody wants to admit. Broken is familiar. You have been in this cycle so long. You know how it works. You know the rhythm, the fall, the shame, the repentance, the temporary victory, the fall again. It is predictable. But freedom is unknown territory. Freedom means you would have to show up as the person you have been telling God you want to become. And that person has responsibilities. That person has to deliver. That person can't hide behind the pattern anymore. Right now, your throat is tight. You feel it, don't you? That constriction. That is not fear. That is truth hitting bone. Your spirit just recognized itself in those words, and your flesh is trying to shut it down. Don't let it. Stay here. This is the moment where real freedom begins. Not when you have more willpower. Not when you get more information. But when you stop defending the thing that is killing you. You have held on for so long. You thought holding on was strength. But holding on to a bomb doesn't make you strong. It makes you a casualty. Picture yourself clenching your fists. Not physically. Just see it in your mind. Tight. Nails digging into palms. Feel the tension that creates pain. That is you. You are creating it by holding on. Now picture yourself opening those fists slowly. Fingers uncurling, palms opening up. Feel the relief. That is what it feels like to stop defending your pattern, to stop gripping the familiar pain. Your spirit just showed you the mechanism. You cannot reset what you won't release. And until you admit that a part of you has been choosing this, you will keep wondering why God's power isn't breaking what you are secretly protecting. But here is what I need you to understand. God isn't angry about that. He is not disgusted that you have been clinging to your brokenness. He knows. He sees it. He has known it all along. His anger isn't at you for being human. His anger is at something else entirely. God's anger isn't punishment. It is not rejection. It is not him turning his back on you. His anger is a surgeon's scalpel. I need you to see what a surgeon sees. When a surgeon walks into an operating room and sees cancer growing in someone they love, they don't feel sadness first. They feel rage. Not at the person, at the tumor, at the thing that is stealing life, at the invader that doesn't belong. And that rage that is not violence, that is focus. Surgical precision requires a kind of controlled fury. The surgeon must hate the cancer so much that every cut is intentional, every movement calculated, every slice designed to remove the threat without destroying the host. That is what God's anger is. He is not mad at you. He is mad at what is killing you. He has been watching you defend it. Call it part of your identity. Make excuses for it. Feed it. Protect it. And all the while it is metastasizing, growing, spreading, destroying everything he planted inside you before you were born. You think his anger is rejection, no chosen one. His anger is the most focused form of love you have ever received. It is him saying, I refuse to lose you to this. I refuse to watch you die, calling the tumor your friend. I refuse to let you mistake poison for personality. Here is what he sees that you don't. He sees the version of you that is buried under the pattern. The you that existed before the wound. Before the code, before the autoimmune response kicked in. He sees the blueprint, the original design, and he is watching you defend the corruption like it is part of the plan. He sees your gift being wasted on managing your brokenness instead of dismantling hell. He sees your prayers bouncing off the ceiling because you are asking him to bless what he is trying to kill. He sees you 48 hours away from breakthrough, and you keep resetting the clock because the pattern feels like home. And he is angry, not because he has given up on you, but because he refuses to give up on you. His anger is him screaming, "Stop before you walk off the cliff you can't see." His anger is him grabbing you by the shoulders, shaking you awake, saying, "Look at what you are doing to yourself." The surgery he is trying to perform isn't about removing your personality. It is about removing what has been masquerading as your personality. The pattern isn't you. The struggle isn't you. The addiction, the fear, the self-sabotage, none of that is you. That is the tumor talking. And you have been listening to it so long, you think its voice is yours. God's anger is him saying, "I know who you are. I made you, and this thing you are defending, I didn't make that." That is the wound pretending to be your identity. That is the enemy's code running in my child's operating system. And I am about to delete it whether you give me permission or not, because I love you too much to watch you die, calling the killer your companion. You have misunderstood the shaking. You thought the shaking was the end. The shaking is the separation. He is shaking the structure so that only what cannot be shaken will remain. God's anger is the chisel hitting the stone. Michelangelo didn't create David by being gentle with the marble. He attacked it with focus, with fury, with absolute conviction that something beautiful was hidden inside the rough block. Every strike of the chisel was an act of love. God isn't angry because he is done with you. He is angry because he refuses to leave you unfinished. His anger is the chisel hitting the pattern. And every strike hurts because you have been confusing the stone with yourself. You think he is attacking you. He is attacking the prison you have been living in, calling it a house. So here is what changes right now. You have been afraid of his anger. But now you see, his anger isn't the end of his mercy. His anger is his mercy. It is love that refuses to be soft when soft would let you die. I am going to show you something that proves this works. Because I know you are thinking, this sounds good, but can someone actually break this pattern? Can the cycle really end? Let me tell you about Sarah. 52 days ago, she was exactly where you are right now, trapped in a pattern she couldn't name, tripping the same wires over and over, convinced she was the exception to God's power, that this pattern, her pattern, was the one that couldn't break. Day one looked like this. She is in her bedroom, 6:47 in the morning. Sunlight coming through the blinds, but she is still in the dark. Her phone is in her hand. The app she swore she deleted is right there. Downloaded again at 3 a.m. when she couldn't sleep. Her thumb hovers over it one more time. Just to check. Just to see. And in that moment, something in her spirit screamed. Not conviction. Not shame. A scream that said, if you open this, you will die here. She didn't open it. Her hand was shaking, actually trembling. She deleted the app again. But this time she didn't just delete it. She said something out loud, something she had never said before. She said, that version of me is dead. I am someone new. I don't know who yet, but I know I am not her anymore. That was day 1. The first 24 hours of what she didn't know would become 48 hours that changed everything. Days 2 through 32 were not a straight line. This wasn't a Disney movie. Day 7, she almost fell. Day 12 felt like hell. Every trigger she had been avoiding came at once. But she made a choice. Every time the craving hit, every time her body screamed for the pattern, she would breathe in and say one word: dead. That version is dead. Day 19 was the breakthrough. She woke up and realized she hadn't thought about the pattern in 36 hours. For the first time in years, she went a full day and a half without the craving, without the whisper, without the pull. She knew something had shifted. Not just behavior, identity. But then came day 33, and this is where most people fall. This is the day the enemy shows up with his most sophisticated attack. Because now you are dangerous. Now you are actually free. And hell can't have that. She is in her kitchen. 6 a.m. Coffee brewing. Her phone lights up on the counter. The name, the one that used to own her, the one she thought she would never hear from again. A text, simple, innocent. Hey, just thinking about you. Hope you are well. Her heart stopped, not because of what the text said, because of what it awakened. A memory in 4K resolution. The feeling, the escape, the pleasure. And for 5 seconds, her body forgot that version of her was dead. Her hand reached for the phone, stopped, reached again. Her breath caught in her throat, and then she remembered something. The protocol, the instruction she had been given. When the enemy attacks through memory, don't fight the memory. Declare over it. So she said it out loud, in her kitchen, alone. She said, no, that woman died 33 days ago. I am not her. I am someone the enemy has never met before. And you just lost your power. The phone went dark. The memory faded. And she let out a breath she had been holding for 33 days. Day 48. Different person, same body. But the code was rewritten. The pattern was broken. The autoimmune response was healed. And she walked out of that 48 hours with something she had never had before. Not just freedom from the pattern, but authority over it. She became a debug specialist, someone who sees the code others can't see. You see, Sarah didn't just survive, she transformed. She took the weight that was crushing her and used it to build a foundation. But here is what I didn't tell you about day 33. Here is what she would have missed if she didn't know what was coming. That text wasn't random. That attack wasn't coincidence. The enemy has 5 specific forms of attack. He uses the moment you start to break free. And if you don't recognize them, they will pull you back into the cycle faster than you escaped it. The first form is the memory ambush. It comes without warning. You are fine. You are free. You haven't thought about the pattern in days. And then out of nowhere, a memory hits you. Vivid, detailed, so real you can taste it. And it is not just any memory. It is the best version of the thing that was destroying you. The moment it felt good. The moment it worked. The moment before the consequences showed up. This attack comes between day 7 and day 40 of any breakthrough. Why? Because that is when your neural pathways are rewiring. Your brain is literally looking for the old pattern because it was familiar, and the enemy feeds that search with glorified memories. The mechanism is nostalgia. You aren't craving the thing. You are craving the feeling you think the thing gave you. Here is how to counter it. Don't fight the memory. Declare over the memory. Say out loud, that version of me is dead. I remember that moment, but I also remember what came after. The shame, the destruction, the cost, and I choose life. The second form is the false permission. This is the most dangerous because it sounds holy. It comes as a thought that feels like wisdom. It sounds like this: you have been doing so well. You have proven you can resist. So having just a little bit won't hurt. You are strong enough now. You can handle it. This is the enemy disguised as maturity, as balance, as grace. This attack comes around day 14 to day 21. Why? Because that is when you start feeling confident. When you think you have mastered the pattern. The mechanism is pride. You start believing you broke the pattern with your strength. And the moment you think you are strong enough to handle it, you are weak enough to fall for it. The counter recognized that freedom isn't about being strong enough to play with fire. It is about being wise enough to stay out of the furnace. Say this: my freedom isn't proof I can handle temptation. It is proof God removed my appetite for poison. I am not avoiding this because I am weak. I am avoiding this because I am free. The third form is the identity attack. This comes as a voice in your head that says, who do you think you are? You really think you are different now. You really think 30 days erases 30 years. You are fooling yourself. You are still the same person, and you always will be. This hits between day 20 and day 35. Right when your new identity is forming but hasn't solidified yet. The mechanism is shame about your past. The enemy wants you to believe your history defines your future, that your old name is still your real name. The counter: remember Romans 6:6. Your old self was crucified, not improved, not renovated. Crucified, dead, gone. And if it is dead, it doesn't get a vote. Say this out loud: my past is not my prophet. My history is not my identity. I am who God says I am today, not who the enemy says I was yesterday. The fourth form is the comfort trap. You have been fighting so hard, you are exhausted. You are tired of being vigilant. And a thought comes: I just need a break. I just need to relax. I just need one moment where I am not on guard. And you let your guard down, not to fall back into the pattern, just to rest. But the enemy doesn't attack when you are ready. He attacks when you are tired. This shows up around day 25 to day 45. When the adrenaline of breakthrough wears off and you are in the mundane middle. The mechanism is fatigue. Spiritual, emotional, mental exhaustion that makes you vulnerable. The counter rest is not the same as compromise. You can rest without letting your guard down. Rest in the protocol, not from the protocol. Say this: I am allowed to be tired. But tired doesn't mean defenseless. My rest is covered by the God who never sleeps. I can breathe without surrendering ground. The fifth form is the milestone sabotage. This is the one that gets people on day 30, day 48, day 90. Right when you hit a significant marker. Right when you are about to celebrate breakthrough. The attack comes hard. Because if the enemy can make you fall on the milestone, you will believe the number is cursed. that freedom is always temporary, that you will never make it past this point. The mechanism is the illusion of inevitability. You start thinking, I always fall here. This is my ceiling. I am not meant to go further than this. And that belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The counter milestones aren't ceilings. They are launch pads. The reason the attack is so fierce at the milestone is because you are about to launch into a dimension of freedom the enemy can't follow you into. Say this: the attack at the milestone doesn't mean I have reached my limit. It means I am about to break through my limit. This is not my ceiling. This is my catapult. You have the map now. You see the enemy's playbook. You see the tripwires. But seeing isn't enough. You need the weapon that destroys them. The Bible tells us the weapons of our warfare are not carnal but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. Most people think that means prayer. It does, but it means more than prayer. Jericho. Joshua didn't just pray the walls down. He marched. He shouted. He activated physical obedience that partnered with God's power. The walls fell, but not until he moved. Gideon. He didn't just bind the idols in prayer. He cut them down with an axe in the middle of the night. Active demolition. The new believers in Ephesus, they didn't just repent. They brought their books, their scrolls, their tools of darkness, and they burned them publicly. Physical destruction of the past. See the pattern: prayer plus passive waiting equals stuck. Prayer plus active demolition equals freedom. You can't just know about the weapons. You have to use them. And using them means physical participation in your own deliverance. So here is what we are going to do together right now. In your mind, I want you to see something breakable. Not in your hand, in your mind's eye. A pencil. A stick. A dried leaf. Something fragile. See it clearly. Now watch yourself in your imagination. Snap it in half. Hear the crack. See it break. That sound you just heard in your mind, that is the sound your pattern is about to make. You just prophesied with your imagination. You are not helpless. You are not a victim. You are armed. Now I am going to give you the protocol. The exact 48-hour roadmap. This is not theory. This is medical. Precise. Proven. Hour 0 to hour 12 emergency triage. The first 12 hours are about stopping the bleeding. This is not the time to figure out why you fell. This is the time to stop falling. Step 1, verbal declaration. Out loud. Not in your head. You say, I am in reset mode. The old code is being deleted. I am unavailable to the pattern for the next 48 hours. Step 2, environmental lockdown. Whatever gives you access to the pattern, remove access. Delete the app. Block the number. Change your route. You are cutting off supply lines. Step 3, scheduled check-ins. Every 3 hours for the first 12 hours, you stop and ask your spirit one question. How am I really doing? Not how you think you should be doing. How you are actually doing. And you listen without judgment. Hour 12 to hour 24, pattern interrupt. This is where the craving will hit. Your body has been running on autopilot for so long, it expects the pattern. Around hour 18, it will scream for it. Not because you are weak, because your nervous system is in withdrawal. Here is what you do when the craving hits. When your body leans toward the pattern, you take the biggest breath you can. Hold it for 4 seconds, then release it slowly over 6 seconds. While you are releasing, you say in your mind, "This is not hunger. This is withdrawal." And withdrawal means the poison is leaving. You repeat that every time the craving comes. You are not fighting the feeling. You are reframing it. Withdrawal is not failure. Withdrawal is proof the healing has started. That is phase 1. The first 24 hours. But phase 2, that is where the real transformation happens. That is where your identity gets rebuilt. Hour 24 to hour 36, identity reconstruction. This is where you stop being who you were and start becoming who you are. The first 24 hours were about survival. The next 12 are about rebirth. And rebirth requires a death certificate for the old version. Here is what you do. You name the old version out loud. You say, "The version of me that did this, their name was fill in the blank. Addict, broken, victim, coward." Whatever name you have been carrying, you name them. And then you say the second part, "That person died at hour 0. I am not them anymore." This feels dramatic. It is dramatic because identity shifts require ceremony. Your spirit doesn't respond to casual suggestions. It responds to declarations. Hour 36 to hour 48, neural pathway rewiring. This is the most critical window. Your body will crave the pattern at hour 36 like it never craved it before. Not because you are failing, because your nervous system is realizing the pattern is actually gone and it is making one last attempt to pull you back. This is neurological, not spiritual. Your brain built highways to the old behavior, and now those highways are being torn up. That discomfort you feel, that is construction. That is good pain. When the craving hits at hour 36, here is what you do. In your mind, picture your hand. Now picture it clenched into a fist so tight the knuckles are white. That tension, that is you gripping the craving. Now picture your hand opening slowly, fingers uncurling, palm facing up, open, released. As you see this in your mind, take a breath and say silently, "I release the craving. It has no grip on me. I have no grip on it. We are not connected anymore." Repeat this every time the pull comes. You are not fighting it. You are releasing it. And every release rewrites a neural connection. By hour 48, the craving will be a whisper. By day 7, it will be a memory. By day 30, you will forget it was ever there. You have endured the reset. You have walked through the fire and you did not burn. After hour 48, here is your maintenance protocol. Every morning for the next 30 days, you check in with yourself using 3 questions. First question, did the pattern whisper to me yesterday? If yes, what triggered it? If no, what protected me? Second question, did I feel the autoimmune response trying to activate that tightness in your chest? That pull towards self-sabotage? If yes, what stopped it? Third question, who am I today? Not who I was. Not who I am becoming. Who am I right now in this moment? These 3 questions keep the reset active. They keep your awareness sharp. And awareness is 80% of the battle. The pattern only works when you are not paying attention. The moment you see it, it loses half its power. You are transforming. You are renovating. Romans 12:2 says, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." The word transformed in Greek is metamorpho. It is where we get the word metamorphosis. This isn't about improving your caterpillar behavior. This is about becoming a butterfly, a different species, a different operating system, a complete rewrite of what you are. And renewing, that is the Greek word anakainosis. It means renovation, not repair, not improvement, demolition and rebuild. You are not patching the old house. You are tearing it down and building new. Your 48 hours, that is the demolition. The next 30 days, that is the foundation. The next 90 days, that is the frame going up. And by day 120, you are living in a completely different structure. Same you, different house. Which brings me to the most important part of this entire message. Your new identity. Because you are not walking out of this as the same person who walked in. You are not even walking out as a healed version of that person. You are walking out as someone the enemy has never met before. You are no longer a victim of patterns. You are a debug specialist. Let me tell you what that means. A debug specialist is someone who can see corrupted code that others can't see. When someone is trapped in a cycle they can't explain, you will be the one who maps the tripwires. When someone is destroying their own blessings and doesn't know why, you will be the one who explains the autoimmune response. When someone asks why God is angry, you will be the one who reveals the surgical rage. This authority is not theoretical. It is functional. Within 7 days of your reset, someone will come to you with the exact pattern you just broke. And you won't just have sympathy. You will have a solution. You will walk them through the 48-hour protocol. You will teach them the breathing technique. You will help them name the old version and declare them dead. And they will break free. Not because you are special, but because you have been where they are and you know the map. That is your commission. Not just to be free, but to set others free. You are not called to escape alone. You are called to go back into the battlefield with the protocol and extract the others. Now, before we seal this, I need you to hear me. What happens in the next few minutes is not information. This is activation. This is not a bedtime prayer. This is a commissioning ceremony. And it requires your full attention. Not your eyes. Not your hands. But your spirit. So wherever you are, whatever you are doing, I need you to tune in. Lock in. Because heaven is about to seal what we just built. In your mind, picture yourself standing, not physically, in your spirit. See yourself standing up straight, shoulders back, spine aligned. This is your posture for what comes next. This is how you receive a commission. Father, we stand in this moment that you orchestrated before time began. You knew they would be here. Now, at this exact second, you knew the pattern would bring them to the edge. And you knew this would be the moment of their reset. We don't come with religious words. We come with authority. The authority you gave when you said, "Greater is he that is in you." We activate that authority now. Father, you see them. You see the 3 a.m. moments, the locked bathroom, the deleted messages, the shame they carry like a second skin. You see every time they tripped the wire, every time they whispered, "I will never do it again," while their hand was already moving toward it. You see the origin, the wound that became the code, the trauma that became the trigger. You see them defending the tumor, calling it their identity because they don't know who they are without it. And Father, you see what they can't see. The version of them that is waiting 48 hours away. The Debug Specialist. The pattern breaker. The one who will set others free. You have seen that version all along. And now, Father, I seal what you have revealed in this hour. I seal the autoimmune metaphor, that they would see their pattern as a spiritual immune system gone rogue attacking the self. I seal the 7 tripwires. Wire 1, the invisible return. Wire 2, the secret vow. Wire 3, the negotiation. Wire 4, the evidence eraser. Wire 5, the history rewriter. Wire 6, the weaponized gift. And Wire 7, the teacher. I seal their ability to see these wires in real time in themselves and in others. I seal the corrupted code revelation, that they would trace the origin and stop blaming themselves for what they inherited. I seal the surgical rage reframe, that they would never again mistake your anger for rejection. Your anger is the scalpel. The tumor is the target. They are the beloved. I seal the 48-hour divine reset protocol. Hour 0 to 12 emergency triage. Hour 12 to 24 pattern interrupt. Hour 24 to 36 identity reconstruction. Hour 36 to 48 neural rewiring. Every hour, every step, every breath technique, every declaration, sealed. I seal the Debug Specialist identity. They are no longer victims. They are specialists, code breakers, pattern mappers, liberators. And I bind the 5 forms of enemy exploitation. I bind the memory ambush. I bind the false permission. I bind the identity attack. I bind the comfort trap. I bind the milestone sabotage. Bound, ineffective, powerless. They have no authority over this life anymore. Father, I declare over them, within 48 hours they will experience withdrawal from the pattern, and they will overcome it. Within 7 days, someone will notice the change, and they will testify of your power. Within 30 days, they will encounter someone trapped in the same pattern, and they will be the one who maps the tripwires. Within 90 days, their Debug Specialist authority will be undeniable. This is not hope. This is decree. It is done. The timeline is set. The reset is activated. Chosen One, I am asking you right now, do you receive this commission? Do you receive the title of Debug Specialist? Do you accept the authority to break patterns, yours and others? If yes, then seal it. Right, I am still standing in the comments. It is your final signature on the death certificate of the old you. It is your first act of authority as the new you. I heard you. Heaven heard you. And the enemy just felt the shift. You are commissioned. You are deployed. You are dangerous to every cycle of hell. You are dismissed, not as you came, but as who you have become. Go break your pattern in the next 48 hours. Then go find someone who needs this map. You are not called to be free alone. You are called to be a liberator. In the name of the pattern breaker, the chain destroyer, the cycle ender. Your 48 hours start now. Go.